I saw her in my dream before I saw her in his phone. She was barefoot, standing in our kitchen, my kitchen, wearing his college sweatshirt and eating cherries from the jar I told him to throw out 2 months ago. She smiled like she lived there, like she'd always been there. I woke up gasping and found him in the bathroom with the door locked at 3:12 a.m., claiming he was checking a rash. The thing is, I wasn't supposed to be at that party. Neither was he. It was our friend Chelsea's birthday, Chelsea who had accidentally left me off the group invite, but something felt off. I saw one picture on someone's story, froze it, zoomed in, and there was his elbow. I'd know that tattoo anywhere. So I went. Not dressed for revenge, not armed with a plan, just curiosity and a bad feeling. And that was enough. The room was too hot, everyone too drunk. I spotted him near the speakers, holding a drink he doesn't even like, gin and tonic, no lime. He was laughing at something. I couldn't see who he was with. Until I walked around the other side of the dance floor. And saw her. She was exactly as I dreamed her. Cherry-stained lips, barefoot, wearing that fucking sweatshirt. I froze. Then, a sharp ping. AirDrop, burn 1R backups, wants to share a file with you. What? I instinctively tapped accept. It was a zip file. No sender ID, no context, just the name. My stomach turned. I looked up. She was gone. So was he. I locked myself in Chelsea's bathroom and unzipped the file. There were dozens of images. Screenshots, notes, a weird calendar of initials I didn't recognize, S for Saturday or Sarah, A for Ashley. And voice memos. One was labeled February, upstairs. I tapped it and heard my boyfriend's voice. "Lo, Bressie." I told her I was working late. She's probably tracking my location, so I left the burner in my gym bag. It's set to ping from the station. A female voice laughed, then said the words that made the floor of Chelsea's bathroom fall away beneath me. She still thinks she's the only one, huh? I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I recorded the entire thing on my own phone and texted it to myself, then to my sister, then to my email. Then I flushed the toilet, looked myself in the mirror, and opened the bathroom door like nothing had happened. Because I had questions, I found him again on the back deck. He was laughing with 2 of his friends, one of whom gave me a "didn't you two break up" look. I walked straight up to him and said, "Who's Claire?" He blinked, like the name surprised him, then gave me a smile I hated instantly. "Claire, baby, you've gotta stop reading into dreams again." I stepped back. I hadn't said anything about the dream. Just the name. His smile faltered. He reached for my arm. "Let's talk inside." "No," I said, loud enough for the people around us to notice. "Let's talk right here." He lowered his voice. "You're making a scene." "Yeah," I said and held up my phone. "Should I play your voicemail from February upstairs?" His mouth dropped open. And then his face changed. Not scared. Cold. Calculating. And he said the last thing I expected. "Where'd you get that file?" I blinked, "So it's real. You need to delete it, now." He reached for my phone. I stepped back. But behind me, the barefoot girl. Claire. She was holding his other phone. And she looked terrified. "Wait, don't delete it," she whispered. "That file's mine." And then she said, "He told me you were the crazy ex." I didn't move. Not because I was frozen in shock, but because I was calculating. Claire, the barefoot sweatshirt thief from my dreams, was standing 3 feet away from me, holding his burner phone, trembling. Meanwhile, the man I thought I was building a future with, he was staring at both of us like he was deciding which of us to silence first. "Wait," I said, barely above a whisper. "He told you I was the ex." Claire nodded. Her hand was shaking as she held out the phone. "He said you hacked his life, that you were obsessed, that you faked being pregnant." "What the fuck?" I choked, stepping back like her words had slapped me. "He told you I faked a pregnancy." That's when her face crumpled. "Oh my God," she whispered. You were really pregnant." I didn't have to answer. My silence said enough. And suddenly, it hit me. She didn't know. She wasn't my enemy. She was another version of me, fed the same lies, gaslit until she didn't trust her own instincts. We were two satellites, orbiting a man who thought he was the sun. People had started to watch. A circle was forming on the deck, party music still thumping through the windows, but outside, you could cut the tension with a knife. Claire looked at him, her lips trembling. "How long?" she asked. He scoffed, "Claire, don't do this here." She lifted the burner phone. "Then, where do I do it? When you sneak into my place again and tell me I'm imagining the scratch marks on your back." He turned to me. "You two are insane." "Not insane," I said, "just finally in the same room." Claire didn't look away from him. "How long were you sleeping with both of us?" He exhaled hard. "You're acting like I cheated. This isn't some rom-com setup. We weren't even exclusive." She blinked. "You proposed to me 2 weeks ago." The entire party gasped. Even I gasped. He went red. It wasn't official." "Bullshit," she screamed, flinging the phone at his chest. "You made a speech in front of my dad. You asked him for permission." He looked around, panicked now. "Everyone, calm down. This is being blown way out of proportion." And that's when Chelsea's cousin, who was filming the whole thing, shouted, "Not anymore, bro, you're live." He spun. The cousin was holding his phone up, TikTok open, the little red live dot glowing like a siren. 3,000 people watching, he said, smug as hell. "Say hi, motherfucker." Claire laughed. It was a bitter, hollow sound. "You always wanted to go viral." I stepped forward. "How many others, huh? Or were we just your main accounts?" He didn't answer. And then, Claire said, "He gave me a different name." I turned. "What?" She looked at me, eyes wide. "He said his name was Lucas, not Mark." Silence fell. "Lucas what?" I asked. She swallowed. "Lucas Greer." "That's not even his last name," I muttered. "He's Mark Faulkner. I've seen his ID." The TikTok comments exploded in real time. Chelsea's cousin read one aloud. "Check the burner for contacts. Bet there's more girlfriends under fake names." Claire looked at me. And then she opened the phone again. The contacts list was sparse. 4 names. A work. B, emergency. A baby. A pizza. She clicked baby. It opened a thread of texts. I saw them over her shoulder. Waya. Outside, can't go in RN. Her sister is home. Don't worry, I'll bring plan B. You still got the kid's hair. Kid. Hair. I felt something turn to ice inside me. Claire looked at me, white as a sheet. "Did you have a son?" I shook my head. "No, I'm miscarried." We both looked at him. He wasn't defending himself anymore, just standing there motionless. I asked quietly, "Did you get someone else pregnant?" "Nothing." "Did you steal DNA from a child?" Still nothing. And then Chelsea's cousin zoomed the camera in and said, "Guess it's time we find out whose kid that really is." Claire turned to me. "There's more in the zip file, a receipt for a paternity test. I didn't understand it before." I grabbed my purse, pulled out the manila envelope that had arrived at our apartment 3 days ago, unmarked, unsigned, just our address and my name. I'd been too afraid to open it. Now I had to. I tore it open, pulled out the folded document. Claire stepped beside me. Together, we read it. DNA match, 99.9998% probability. Alleged father, Lucas Greer. Minor child, Eleanor Grace Carter. Mother, Rebecca Carter. I didn't know a Rebecca Carter. But Claire did. Her hands flew to her mouth. "That's my sister." Claire didn't scream. She stopped breathing. Her whole body went rigid as the paternity report slipped from my fingers and fluttered to the grass like a cursed page torn from a nightmare. "No," she whispered. No, he wouldn't. But he did. Mark Lucas, whatever his real name was. He stood frozen on the deck, jaw clenched so tight I thought he'd break a molar. The burner phone lay at his feet. The red, live dot on Chelsea's cousin's phone glowed like it was watching God come down to judge. I knelt slowly, picked up the DNA results, and held them out toward him. "You fucked her sister." No answer. Claire looked like she'd vomit. Ellie's 6, she whispered. 6 years old, that means he was with me. Back then, he said I was his first after the divorce. She turned to him, rage blooming fast. You met her when she was 17, Mark. His face cracked just slightly. I didn't know. She was 17, and you were 29. That was when the crowd gasped again. Not just because of the age difference, but because Claire's father had just walked outside. And he heard everything. Mr. Carter's voice was like a bomb going off. You sick son of a bitch. He lunged. I don't even know how Chelsea's cousin got it all on camera, but by the time the footage hit TikTok later that night, it had over 400K views. Mr. Carter tackled Mark to the ground, fists flying, screaming. You were ATMY house, EATING my food, holding MY granddaughter. Someone tried to pull him off, but not fast enough. Mark was bleeding. Claire was crying. I stood back as the party devolved into chaos, people calling 911, neighbors pouring out to gawk. And through it all, one horrible question pulsed in my brain. If Ellie is his daughter and Rebecca is Claire's sister, how long had this been going on? Had he planned this? Used both sisters. 2 women, 1 man, 1 child, all wrapped in a noose made of lies. Later at the police station, we sat on opposite ends of the waiting room, Claire and I, silent and shattered. They'd taken Mark for questioning. Mr. Carter had been cuffed too, but they'd already let him go with a warning. Self-defense, they said, provoked. While we waited for updates, Claire finally broke the silence. She was living with me, you know, she said hoarsely. Rebecca, after the baby. She was 19, no job, and mom had just died. I turned to her. He stayed over. Claire nodded. A few times, I never. She broke off, closed her eyes. I used to hear the baby crying at night and wonder where she got her curls. I thought they were from Becca's ex. I said nothing. She whispered they were. 2 hours later, the officer came out with news. Mark, or Lucas, was being held under suspicion of fraud, identity manipulation, and statutory rape, pending further investigation. Apparently, there was another woman who came forward after seeing the live stream. And she wasn't the last. The burner phone, once unlocked properly, revealed 10 separate contact threads. Not just women. Bank transfers, passcodes, shared addresses, duplicate keys. He had homes. Multiple. He wasn't just a liar, he was a con artist. A predator. The officer said, we suspect he used different names for employment, too. You'll both be contacted as victims of fraud. I laughed bitterly. Victims. Sure. But not just of fraud. Of gaslighting, love bombing. Of a man who looked you in the eye and said, you're the only one, while texting someone else 5 feet away. Claire stood up dazed. I need to see my sister. Will you tell her? I asked. She nodded slowly. She deserves to know, even if it destroys her. Or him, I said. When we left the station, the world was quiet. My phone was buzzing from a dozen texts and missed calls, all from people who'd seen the live video. I ignored them. Instead, I opened the browser and searched. Lucas Greer scam. It wasn't the first time that name had shown up. An old Reddit thread, a Facebook group called Survivors of Lucas G. And a Medium article, 3 years old, titled, I Married My Husband's Shadow. I clicked, scrolled, and my stomach dropped. Because at the very bottom of the post was a comment, recently added. Is this the same Lucas who just got exposed at a party in New Jersey? I saw him on TikTok. He has a daughter with my cousin. The commenter's name. Rebecca C13. Claire's sister. I clicked on Rebecca C13's profile and instantly recognized the header photo. It was taken on Claire's front porch, Ellie perched on Rebecca's hip, both of them squinting into the sun, that same rainbow chalk drawing on the sidewalk I'd stepped over just last week. The caption chilled me. Summer girls, even if the man was a mistake. It was posted 3 days ago. So she knew, or thought she knew. But how much? Claire stood next to me, staring at the screen. Her mouth parted slightly as she scrolled through the comments. One in particular caught her attention. He used the same name on the lease. Is this guy actually Lucas or Mark or what? He lived with me in 2020. I found a second phone hidden in the ceiling vent. Claire whispered, another burner phone. I said nothing, but something inside me clicked into place. That dream I kept having, the woman crying in the mirror. It hadn't felt like me. It had felt like someone watching me from behind the glass, like she was trying to warn me. And now, here I was, scrolling through the digital wreckage of a man who'd rewritten his life like a con man author with too many plots and zero morals. Claire grabbed my arm. Let's go. Where? To her, she said, to Becca. Rebecca's apartment was 20 minutes away. Claire hadn't seen her in months. Their last fight had been about daycare money. Now it would be about a shared man and a shared lie. When we pulled up, Ellie was outside on a scooter. Rebecca came out a moment later, barefoot, cradling her phone. Her face went pale when she saw Claire, then paler when she saw me. What is this? She said flatly. Some kind of shamming intervention. Claire didn't waste time. You knew, she snapped. Rebecca swallowed. No, I thought. But he told me. He said you were the mistake, Claire, that you cheated on him with your coworker and that's why he left. Claire stared stone-faced. Rebecca went on. He said you made up the DNA rumors because you were jealous that we worked things out. You worked things out. Claire's voice rose. With the man who got you pregnant at 19 while dadding your sister. Rebecca winced. I didn't know he was dadding you. I thought you were, God, I don't know what I thought, Claire. I had postpartum. I was alone. He was just there. Silence. Ellie rode her scooter in confused circles. Claire's eyes filled with tears, but they didn't fall. Instead, she turned to me. Show her. I handed Rebecca the printout. Paternity results. 100% match. She didn't flinch, she folded. Literally crumpled to the porch and wrapped her arms around her knees like a child. I wanted to believe he changed. He said he loved me. Claire was quiet. Then he said that to me too, while he was inside me. Rebecca finally looked up. I'm so sorry. I'm not the one who has to forgive you, Claire said coldly and looked at Ellie. I thought that would be the final blow. It was. Because as we sat there, the silence was broken by the sudden buzz of Rebecca's phone. An AirDrop notification. From a contact named L. She frowned, confused. Why would he? She tapped accept. It was a video file. I saw the first frame and choked. Because it was me. Sleeping. In my own bed. Mark or Lucas was filming me. Whispering into the mic. She thinks I'm in Denver for work. She's not even wearing panties tonight. Classic. Claire gagged. Rebecca dropped the phone. And then we all just sat there, staring at the screen. Frozen in time. Claire picked up the phone slowly and played the rest. He zoomed in, whispered things. Gross, objectifying, deranged. And then the kicker. I've got keys to 3 places now. Maybe I'll fake my own death next. That'd be hot. Wonder if they'd even cry. Rebecca whispered, he was recording you in your sleep. I nodded. I had no idea. Claire's hands were shaking. He sent this to you, Becca. She nodded hollow. Must have been a slip or a sick joke. But it wasn't a joke. Because right then, another AirDrop buzzed in. This time to me. From a new contact, Ellie's iPad. I accepted. It was a drawing. Ellie's drawing. 3 stick figures. 2 women. 1 man. The man had a red X over his face. And in shaky, 6-year-old handwriting below, the caption read, Daddy bad, Daddy hurt mommy and AUNTY. Claire gasped. Rebecca started to cry. But I stood up. I had one final question that couldn't wait. Where is he now? Rebecca looked at me confused. What? Lucas, Mark, whatever his name is, where does he live right now? Rebecca sniffed. He said he was in LA business trip. No, Claire said. I just saw him 3 days ago. We turned toward each other, realization slamming into both of us. Rebecca whispered, then who's he with now? That's when my phone lit up again. Not an AirDrop this time. A shared location ping. One I didn't remember enabling. Luca's current location. And I shit you not. He was just 3 blocks away. At another house. With another woman. And 2 kids. We didn't speak. Not as Claire started the car. Not as Rebecca climbed in beside me, holding Ellie tight, her arms coiled protectively around her little girl like she could shield her from the truth. Not even when my phone rerouted the shared location and lit up again. The house wasn't tucked away or remote. It was in the middle of a suburban street lined with pastel shutters and American flags, with Halloween decorations still sagging from porch railings. We parked across the street. From the outside, everything looked heartbreakingly normal. 2-story home, tricycle in the yard, front porch light on. Claire leaned forward, squinting through the windshield. "That's him," she whispered. And it was. Lucas Mark, whatever his name really was, stood at the window, pouring wine into 2 glasses. He was barefoot. And laughing. With a woman. Not Rebecca. Not Claire. Someone new. Someone else entirely. Claire's breathing grew shallow. Rebecca opened the door. I grabbed her wrist. "What are you going to do?" She looked at me like I'd asked whether gravity still worked. Burn it down. We didn't, obviously. But we did walk right up to the door. Claire knocked once. Rebecca knocked louder. The woman who answered had the same expression I'd probably worn 3 months ago. Soft-eyed, a little wary, a little hopeful. She was older, maybe mid-40s, pretty in a quietly dignified way. "Hi," she said. Claire smiled too sweetly. "Hi, we're here to speak to your husband." The woman blinked. My what? Rebecca and I both froze. Claire didn't. She repeated very slowly, "Your husband, Mark, Lucas." The woman tilted her head, confused. Then called over her shoulder, "Hey babe, you have visitors." And that's when he stepped out. Wearing the same smug smile he always wore when he thought no one could see through it. Until he saw us. His expression dropped like a shot deer. "Shit," he muttered. Claire took a step forward. "Pick a name, I dare you." Rebecca held out her phone, the AirDrop still visible on screen. I didn't say a word. I just watched. His third girlfriend, wife, stood frozen in the doorway. "What's going on?" she whispered. He started to lie, of course he did. "I can explain." But Claire wasn't having it. She reached into her bag and pulled out the printed DNA test. "The daughter he said was yours," she said coldly. "She's my sister." The woman blinked rapidly. "You mean Ellie?" Rebecca nodded. Claire continued, "And the son he told me he had from a failed marriage, that was your kid." The woman's eyes widened. Then crack. The first tear. I've seen a lot of women cry over him. But this was the first time I felt detached, like I was watching from the outside. Because I had seen it before. In a dream. The woman looked at Lucas or Mark, or whatever the hell he called himself there, and whispered, "How long?" He hesitated. Fatal mistake. Her voice sharpened. "How long?" He mumbled something. She slapped him, hard. Then she stepped back and opened the door wider. "Take your wine, take your keys, get the fuck out of my house." He didn't move at first. So Claire reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. Not the one we knew. The burner. Then she handed it to me. "You're better with tech." I opened the photo app. Thousands of pictures. Claire, Rebecca, me. Our homes, our kids, our bedrooms. He'd been cataloging us like we were pets. Then I found the voice memos. One labeled, "Red dress, lies, hotel room." I hit play. It was me. Whispering in a hotel room, giggling. "You're bad," I said. Then him, "You love it." Then a second female voice. Not Rebecca. Not Claire. Not me. A fourth woman. I dropped the phone like it was a snake. He tried to snatch it, but Claire intercepted. Rebecca raised hers and started recording. "Say hi to TikTok, asshole." The woman, his wife, we assumed was crying now, but not from heartbreak, from rage. She disappeared inside. Then came back with a folder. tossed it onto the lawn. Inside, insurance papers, a joint bank account, even school forms for their kids. Every single one of them signed Lucas M. Holloway. So that's his name, I thought. Or one of them. Claire whispered, "We're just the ones who found each other." Then my phone buzzed again. A final AirDrop request. No name attached. Just a file. A video. I accepted. It opened to a clip of all of us. Claire, Rebecca, me, and the woman at the door, spliced together from hidden videos, audio clips, even screenshots of text messages. A montage of his web of lies. And the final frame. A black screen with white text. Which of you was first? My stomach dropped. Because that file. It had been sent by his iCloud account. He's watching us, I said. Claire's head whipped around. Rebecca's hands shook. The woman said what we were all thinking. Then let's make sure he sees what happens next. And with that, she pulled out her phone. And went live. The Instagram live began with shaky hands and stunned silence. The camera captured all four of us, me, Claire, Rebecca, and the woman we'd only just met, standing in a front yard littered with wine glasses, DNA papers, and a burner phone still buzzing. Behind us, Lucas stood frozen on the porch, jaw tight, arms slack, the smirk gone, completely gone. The live's viewer count jumped from 3 to 79 in under a minute. Claire leaned into the camera, her voice clear. If you've ever dated a man named Mark Holloway, Lucas Merritt, or had a Tinder date with someone who said he was a widower raising twins, please stay tuned. Rebecca added, "We're about to tell you everything." Lucas reached for the phone, but the other woman, his wife, stepped in front of him like a shield. "You so much as breathe in her direction," she said without blinking, "and I will gut you with a carving knife. Smile for the audience." He tried to duck away from the porch light. But it was too late. Someone screen recorded. I watched it happen in real time. The comments flooded in. "Wait, is that my sister's boyfriend? He told me he was a firefighter. That's MY Kid's dad, WTF." Claire turned the camera toward him. "Say your name." He stayed silent. Rebecca stepped up. "Then we'll do it for you. This man has been living a triple, no, quadruple life. We have photo evidence, financial documents, a DNA test, and we just found a burner phone full of recorded conversations." I pulled it out and held it up. "And videos. He's been watching us, tracking us, recording all of us without consent." The comments exploded. "This is so sick. I'm shaking. He has a kid with my coworker. I recognize that house." Lucas moved then, shoved past his wife and bolted down the porch steps, full sprint into the dark street. But we were already ahead of him. Claire had shared our location to a private group with the video attached. Within 3 blocks, someone spotted him. He didn't get far. The police showed up 15 minutes later. Turns out he'd been flagged before, different name, different state. The officer took one look at the phone and said, "Yup, that's enough for a warrant." Rebecca turned off the live only after the cuffs clicked shut. Viewer count at that moment, 4.8K. Screenshots everywhere. The story spread like wildfire, the burner husband. People wrote Reddit threads, TikToks, podcasts. By morning, we had messages from women in Oregon, Florida, even the UK. But it wasn't until later that we realized the real horror hadn't hit yet. Not until we went back to my place to crash. We needed rest, we needed comfort food, we needed a goddamn shower. Claire was the first to speak. "We should go through the rest of the phone." I hesitated. So did Rebecca. But curiosity and trauma don't play nice. So we opened the voice memo app again. One file caught my attention. It was labeled only, "For her." I hit play. A woman's voice began to speak, low, whispering, almost like she was recording it secretly. "This is for when you find out. If you're hearing this, you probably already know. I loved him too." My skin crawled. Maybe I was the first, maybe I was just the test run, but he told me I was different, and I believed him. I left my husband, my kids, I moved for him, I gave up everything. Claire and Rebecca looked at each other. I started recording him, when I realized he never looked at me when he said he loved me. The voice cracked. I'm sorry if you're hearing this in pain. I just wanted someone to know I was real, even if I wasn't the last. Then silence. I stared at the file. There was no date attached. No number. No trace of who she was. Claire said what we were all thinking. She's not one of us. That's when my email pinged. The subject line read, iCloud login from unknown device. Location, Las Vegas. Claire's phone buzzed next. Then Rebecca. Then mine again. A shared note popped up. No sender. Just text. This isn't over. Attached below. A video thumbnail. Of a woman holding a toddler. Caption, call him daddy, like mommy does. It wasn't any of us. It wasn't even the wife from the porch. It was a fifth woman. We were silent. Then I remembered something. A dream I had the week I found the burner phone. A woman in a hallway, holding a child, whispering, he promised. I thought it was stress. Or subconscious paranoia. But now I wasn't sure. Because in that video, she wore the same red dress from my dream. And behind her, in a hallway mirror, a shape, a figure, holding a phone, filming her, like he always had. And I whispered, it's him. Claire backed away from the screen. Rebecca muttered, he's still out there. And the shared note updated in real time. A new message. Check the drawer, I left you something. I looked up slowly. At the hallway. At the drawer we never touched. And I felt it before I saw it. The chill. The dread. The knowing. I opened the drawer. Inside. A sealed envelope. Labeled in block letters. DNA. Open alone. I held the envelope like it might detonate. The paper was thick, expensive, tactile. There was something final about it, like it had waited for this moment, waited for me. The others stood frozen. Claire whispered, are you sure you want to open it? I didn't answer. I turned it over. Sealed with wax. Red. Pressed with a crude L. I peeled it open. Inside, one sheet of paper. I unfolded it. And read the first line. Paternity confirmation, child 2, biological father, Lucas Merritt. I blinked. That wasn't a shock anymore, we knew about the kids. But then, lower down. Child 1, biological father, unknown, not Lucas Merritt. My brain stalled. It didn't register at first, I reread the sentence. Then Claire leaned over, frowned, and said, wait, I thought you said he was the father of your daughter. I looked at her. I looked at the paper. I looked again. And I felt my knees give. Because it wasn't a report from me. It wasn't my child. The name's on the top. Mother, Sienna Caldwell. My sister. My dead sister. I dropped the paper. Rebecca picked it up. She gasped. There were dates, hospital records, hidden blood test scans from over a decade ago. Claire covered her mouth. What the fuck is this? The floor tilted. It all came back in shards. Sienna had died in a car crash, a freak accident. She was 25. She had a baby. No one ever told me who the father was. I was 20 at the time. I never asked. I never wanted to know. And now I was staring at a printed confirmation that Lucas, who I thought I'd met on Bumble 5 years ago, had known my sister first. Known her intimately. Impregnated her. And lied to me. For years. That child. Her son. He had Lucas's face. He always had. I just never let myself see it. Claire was the one who spoke. Oh my God, you weren't his first target. Rebecca's face turned ghostly. You were his loop. What do you mean? I choked out. Claire knelt down, holding the burner phone again. She tapped into the gallery. Pulled up a folder marked Sweethearts. There were images, dates, metadata, photos from before I ever knew Lucas existed. And in one, I saw a younger me, teenage, barefaced, smiling in the background of a group shot at my sister's baby shower. Lucas was there. Not in the foreground. Not posed. But watching. In the reflection of the kitchen microwave, just barely captured. I gasped. He was at our house. Claire murmured, he was grooming you from the beginning. My stomach turned. Rebecca scrolled further. Voice memos. One titled, Reset. She played it. Lucas's voice came through. I can't keep doing this. They start to blur, but she reminds me of her, of Sienna, she even walks like her. I think that's why I chose her. Silence. Then, she's the one I'll keep, she's the one I'll stay with, until she finds out too. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't move. I was just a replica. A substitute. He never loved me. He recreated my sister's life, photos, routines, fucking candle scents, inside my home. Claire whispered, you ever wonder why he insisted on using her old nickname for you? I remembered it now. Baby S. It wasn't romantic. It was a placeholder. He'd been reanimating her. In me. I stood up, walked straight to the living room, and took the phone. I went live again. I looked right into the lens. And I said, my name is Ava Caldwell, and I've just discovered the man I've been with for 5 years not only had a second life, he had one before mine, with my sister, who died never knowing she was part of a fucking cycle. Claire joined me. So did Rebecca. We showed the DNA test. The photos. The voice memos. And then, we panned to the final shot. The final piece. A note. Handwritten. It was folded in Lucas's wallet, hidden behind a fake insurance card. It read, you always come back to her, L. The live ended with one sentence from me. I won't be her, I'm breaking the loop. The fallout was nuclear. People tracked down every alias he'd ever used. There were podcast specials, Reddit megathreads. 2 women pressed charges for stalking and recording. Claire got a book deal offer. Rebecca disappeared from socials. Rumor had it she moved to another country. As for me, I changed everything. New name. New state. New locks. But sometimes, in dreams, I still see Sienna. She doesn't speak. She just nods. Like she's telling me. It's over now. The loop is broken. But the question remains. Was it ever just me? Or were there others? And if so, who's next? Has a dream ever told you the truth before anyone else?